And yes, it's a great atmosphere at Kyle Field if you want to watch the Milkmen. Hey, hey, something hold up. Hey, dirt, whatever. Then you can walk on over to the gravesite where the Rebels are buried, and they watch the game on a mini scoreboard. I'm not kidding about that. It's all weird. Texas A&M has been surprising this season under Mike Elko, but all that said, I'm not quite sure I buy them against this LSU squad. I don't buy into Connor Wigman, what we've seen from him. Conversely, LSU has been on a run here. That win against Ole Miss in overtime at Baton Rouge, where they finally take the lead in overtime to win it, go into a tough environment in Fayetteville, dominate Arkansas, and Garrett Nussmeier has been fantastic this season. LSU has the 5th best pass success rate in the country. I think that is the difference here. Also, Brian Kelly, as a road dog in his career, 23-11 all-time. LSU and the points in College Station this weekend.
Ooh, Road Dogs. If you want to watch that one, it is set for 7:30 Eastern, Saturday night at Kyle Field.
Pick Six.
All right, how about we get in on some action tonight in a massive matchup in Boise State and UNLV. This game has huge implications for the Mountain West and even bigger implications for the Heisman race. Of course, Ashton Jeanty leading the Broncos here, and I feel like it's going to be a very back and forth affair. I'm going to go over 64.5. It feels like a really high total, but we've seen Boise State play in some absolute shootouts. They've hit the over in 8 of their last 9 games, even with totals sitting in the 60s. So the question for UNLV is, can they stop the run? Statistically, yes. But they have not faced somebody like Ashton Jeanty before. Even against Kansas, they were giving up 5.7 yards per carry. And Jeanty has proven that he can do this even against really good teams. Saw him go for 192 against Oregon. So I feel like nobody's going to contain him. And also, the defense for Boise State, they've been giving up some crooked numbers, even to some teams that are not supremely talented. Gave up 30 to Utah State. 24 to Wazoo. So I feel like UNLV and that up-tempo offense with that dual-threat quarterback will be able to post some points here. Let's go over 64.5 between UNLV and Boise State.
It is a 10:30 kickoff Eastern time tonight in Sin City.
Pick Six.
Kentucky, the Wildcats. Money line, -120, hosting Auburn. What has Auburn done this season? 0-4 in the SEC. They've lost 4 straight games. The closest they've come to anyone is staying within 4 points of Missouri, which I think is vastly overrated. In fact, Hugh Freeze has admitted we're saving our NIL allocation for next season so we can go bigger next year. So this is going to be a lost season for the Tigers anyway. And also, who have the Tigers beaten? New Mexico and Alabama. A&M. That's it. So this is their 3rd straight conference game on the road. I don't think they moved the football much against this Kentucky defense ranked 4th in the SEC. Let's make it simple. Kentucky money line, -120.
Ooh, at the vaunted Kroger Field. Tigers and Wildcats take that field Saturday night, 7:45 Eastern.
Pick Six.
All right, let's stay in the SEC, shall we? And Jenks, maybe cover your eyes for this one. I'm going to go Vandy plus 18.5 at Texas. I am not calling for an outright win. I do think Texas wins. But if you look at all the trends, how can you not take the points here? Vanderbilt has been just too good in this situation. They've been double-digit dogs in 3 games this season. They've covered in all of those with 2 outright wins. And you look at Texas, they have been a really good team, but not great against the number in SEC competition. Just 1 and 2 ATS in the first 3 SEC matchups. This feels like too big of a point spread, and the market agrees. This line opened at 20.5, now down to 18.5. I feel like Vanderbilt's offense can at least, score some points in garbage time. This number feels a little too large for me. I'm going to go with the Doors and the 18.5 points against Texas.
Chelsea, good luck to you. It is a 4:15 Eastern kickoff on Saturday in Music City.
Pick Six.
One of the big games on the schedule this weekend. I see people on both sides. I am on Notre Dame, minus 11.5, taking on Navy at the Meadowlands. I want to believe in Navy. They're a great story. I feel like college football is better when the midshipmen or the Black Knights or the Falcons are good. It's good for college football. It's good for the young men in our country who dedicate themselves to serving in the military. But I just feel like this is a sucker play. Who has Navy beaten thus far? A decent Memphis squad, Air Force, UAB, Temple, Bucknell. I don't think they're ready for this Irish team, particularly on the ground. Between Riley Leonard at quarterback, Jadarian Price, Jeremiah Love, this Notre Dame offense can move the ball on the ground, and Navy gives up 168 yards per game. Irish are also 4-1 against the number in their last 5, and they allow the 10th fewest yards in all of college football. It can still be a great season for Navy, but not on Saturday. Notre Dame minus 11.5 is the call.
All right, so if you want to watch that game, Notre Dame and Navy getting together at noon Eastern on Saturday at MetLife Stadium.
Pick six. Pick six.
All right, and finally for me, let's go to the ACC, where we have Georgia Tech getting 10.5 points against Virginia Tech. It feels like this line is too big, and I think that it is increased because of the quarterback news for Georgia Tech. It looks like Haynes King is not going to go, but we saw this last week for Georgia Tech, and Zach Pyron still is able to at least move the chains. Last game losing to Notre Dame 31-13. So if they can keep it close with Notre Dame, I'm not a huge buyer into what Virginia Tech is selling. I think they're a decent team, but should they be laying double digits against Georgia Tech? I think not. And Georgia Tech has been one of those teams that have been great outright as underdogs. We saw it at the first of the year. Maybe that upset of Florida State is not quite as large as maybe it looked back then, but still double digits for Georgia Tech. I feel like this is a sleepy spot for Virginia Tech. This is a noon kickoff, so I feel like the home field advantage there is not going to be as much as a factor. So let's go Georgia Tech, getting the 10.5 at Virginia Tech.
Chelsea, it is a noon Eastern kick like you talked about in Blacksburg on Saturday. Then you win that game, and what do? It's an early game. By 3 o'clock, you got money in your pocket. It's right back to Walmart for more goods.
Actually, we have a really busy weekend. We have about 1,000 trunk or treats. So this is the busy time of year for people with kids that have all the Halloween festivities, because this is the big weekend. It feels like we always do Halloween like the weekend before. So it feels like the same for you, right? Isn't the costume contest this Saturday?
Yeah, we got a busy weekend. I'm a little worried. I don't like going out too late night before Commanders because I have to be on point for that and be out to the stadium early and do all that preparation, which is fine, part of the job. But the costume contest is a tradition.